I do not have friends at work. I have audit logs. Friends lie to you about your haircut. Audit logs tell you exactly who was in the building at 4:12 in the morning and why they tried to export 6 tabs of data to a server in a non-extradition country. That is my love language. I am Gerald Thornton, the Senior Cyber Compliance Officer for Aegis Analytics, the Department of Defense, the National Security Agency, and the auditors who decide if this company lives or dies know my name. I am the gatekeeper who ensures no unauthorized personnel pass our digital barriers. I have spent 24 years in federal contracting, and I have learned one universal truth. The biggest threat to national security is not a hacker in a hoodie. It is a corporate executive who thinks a simple password is easy to remember. It was a Tuesday. I was 3 hours into a Level 7 log review. Cybersecurity is not like the movies. In reality, it is me, a cup of Earl Grey, and a spreadsheet that spans 4 monitors. I was looking for anomalies in the compartmentalization protocols. Aegis Analytics handles operational forecasting for the military. We predict supply chain failures for tanks and model troop movements. We house data that, if leaked, gets people killed. That is the job. I was scrolling through the access requests for Server Node 11, an air-gapped system that houses contingency plans for global conflict, when I saw a jagged little line in the smooth hum of the data stream. Someone had pinged the gateway. The ping came from an internal development account, devadmin08. We do not use generic admin accounts. Everything is biometrically linked to a specific human being with a specific clearance level. devadmin08 was a ghost key, a relic from the system setup phase that should have been incinerated 7 years ago. Seeing it active was like coming home to find a stranger wearing your pajamas and eating your cereal. I did not panic. I picked up the phone and dialed the IT director, Toby Jenkins. Toby is a good guy, but he has the backbone of a chocolate eclair when management walks into his room. Toby, I said, skipping the pleasantries. Why is devadmin08 active? And why is it trying to handshake with the air-gapped drive? There was silence on the other end. Not the kind of silence that means someone is looking into the issue. It was the silence of pure dread. Gerald, Toby whispered, his voice shaking. I did not do it. The ticket came from upstairs, like Penthouse upstairs. Toby, I said, my voice dropping an octave into a cold, firm tone. I do not care if the ticket came from the ghost of the founder. That account is not cleared for top-secret data. Who is using it? He hesitated, exhaling slowly. It is Liam. I closed my eyes. Liam Bradley, the CEO's 29-year-old son, the chief innovation strategist. He was a young man whose resume consisted of 3 failed crypto startups and a bachelor's degree in entrepreneurial spirit. Liam had been prowling around the office for months, talking about disrupting the paradigm and leveraging artificial intelligence. I mostly ignored him, but now the fly had a sledgehammer. Liam does not have clearance, Toby's, I said, typing furiously to lock down the perimeter. Liam can barely clear his browser history. Why does he have a root access key? His father, Toby said, sounding miserable. The CEO walked in here yesterday. He said Liam needs unfettered access to build his pitch deck for the Pentagon meeting. He ordered me to reactivate the ghost key. I felt a cold prickle at the base of my neck. Toby, listen to me very carefully. Did you log that order? I wrote it on a sticky note, Toby admitted. I hung up. I stared at my screens. The devadmin08 account was still probing the firewall. This was not just a policy violation. This was a violation of the international traffic and arms regulations. If Liam managed to pull data out of that drive, Aegis Analytics would cease to exist. I watched the screen. The probe stopped. Then a new message flashed in the log. Access granted. Override authorized. My stomach dropped. The CEO had used his own credentials to bypass the failsafe. Liam was inside the operational forecasting server. I did not storm into the CEO's office. That is amateur hour. Instead, I opened a secure terminal that runs on a completely separate network. I inserted my personal smart card and typed in a 96-character encryption key. I began to type a report to the Compliance Anomaly Intake Server at the National Security Agency. Title: Unauthorized Access to Compartmented Dataset, Priority Level 1. I was about to light a match, and I was sitting on a mountain of dynamite. But I was not the one who poured the gasoline. That was Liam. I was just the one holding the rulebook. And in my world, the rulebook hits harder than a brick. The next morning, the office buzzed with that manic artificial energy that usually precedes a disaster. In this case, it was the all-hands vision meeting. We gathered in the main atrium, a glass and steel cathedral. The CEO, Julian Bradley, stood on a raised platform. Standing next to him was Liam. Liam looked like an arrogant tech bro who thinks he is Steve Jobs, but is actually just a liability. He was wearing common project sneakers, skinny jeans, and a t-shirt that said Disrupt. He was holding a tablet like it was the Ten Commandments. Team, Julian boomed, his voice echoing. For too long, Aegis Analytics has been reactive. We have been safe. We have been compliant. He said the word compliant like it was a synonym for impotent, but the future is not safe. The future is bold, and my son Liam is going to lead us there. Liam stepped up to the microphone. He adjusted his glasses. Thanks, Dad. I mean, Julian, Liam chuckled. The sycophants in the front row laughed. Look, I've been digging into our systems for the last 24 hours, and honestly, I am shocked. We have data silos everywhere. We have air gaps that belong in the Stone Age. Information wants to be free, guys. Information wants to move. I physically flinched. Information wants to be free is a great slogan for a hacker manifesto. It is a terrible slogan for a company holding classified troop deployment schedules. I am announcing the new Artificial Intelligence Initiative, Liam continued, pacing the stage. I have pulled the raw data sets from the forecasting servers. Yes, the scary ones, and I am feeding them into a new cloud-based learning model. We are going to generate real-time insights for the Pentagon. The room went quiet. Engineers looked at their shoes. The project managers looked at me. Liam had just admitted in front of 300 people that he had extracted classified data and uploaded it to a cloud server. A cloud server hosted by a third-party startup called Synaptech, which he had set up with his personal credit card. Now Liam smirked, locking eyes with me. I know some of the old guard here loved their firewalls, Liam said, his voice dripping with condescension. I know our compliance officer, Gerald. Where are you, Gerald? Ah, there he is a firewall himself. He pointed. The room turned. I stood with my arms crossed, radiating the energy of a disappointed librarian. Gerald thinks security means locking things in a box. But I think security means speed. If we are faster than the enemy, we do not need walls. So effective immediately, I am overriding the legacy access protocols. The innovation team gets root access to everything. Julian clapped. That is the spirit. Let us get to work. The meeting dispersed. People avoided eye contact with me as they shuffled back to their desks. I walked back to my office, my heels clicking a steady rhythmic countdown on the tile floor. I sat down, unlocked my workstation, and immediately pulled the secondary audit logs. Liam was not lying. He had done exactly what he said. At 5:25 in the morning, the devadmin 08 account had executed a mass export command. He had pulled the raw binary files. Then the log showed an upload stream to an external IP address. I traced the IP. It was not a secure government cloud. It was a generic public-facing server hosted by Synaptech. My hands shook slightly. He had uploaded top-secret military operational forecasting data to a startup that probably had a password of admin and a security team consisting of one guy. I took a screenshot. I exported the packet capture. I saved the video file of the all-hands meeting. Then I opened my secure channel to the National Security Agency again. My contact there was Director Roger Thorne. I typed an update to my previous report. Subject has admitted to data exfiltration in a public forum. Data is now hosted on an unsecured third-party public cloud. Video evidence is attached. I hit enter. The screen blinked. Report received. Monitoring initiated. Do not intervene. Do not intervene. That was the hardest part. Liam was running around the office high-fiving people thinking he was a tech visionary. He had no idea that a digital sniper scope was currently centering on his forehead. I had to sit there and let him brag. I had to let the poison spread just enough so that when the antidote arrived, it would kill the patient. I took a sip of my cold tea. It tasted like battery acid. I loved it. 3 hours later, my desk phone rang. It was the internal extension for human resources. The caller ID said Clara Winston, VP of People. Clara was the kind of human resources executive who decorated her office with motivational signs but would fire an employee without hesitation. Gerald, her voice was sugary sweet. Can you pop down to my office for a quick second? Bring your badge, the universal code for your termination. I knew this was coming. I picked up my briefcase. I did not pack a box. I wanted my desk to look exactly as it was, a scene of interrupted work. I walked down the hallway past the rows of developers who were now frantically trying to integrate Liam's new artificial intelligence. I entered Clara's office. Julian Bradley, the CEO, was there too, leaning against the window, looking out at the parking lot. Liam sat in the guest chair, scrolling on his phone, looking bored. "Have a seat, Gerald," Clara said, gesturing to the empty chair. I sat. I kept my posture perfect, spine straight, hands folded. "Gerald," Julian started, not even turning around. "We have been discussing the company's culture, the direction we are heading, and we feel that you are no longer a cultural fit. Your behavior at the meeting today, the negative body language, it was noted by everyone. It undermines leadership." "I did not say a word at the meeting, Julian," I said calmly. "That is the problem," Liam piped up, dropping his phone. "You are always looming. You are like a dark cloud, Gerald. I am trying to innovate, and you are just there radiating negative vibes." "We need a yes culture, sir." I looked at Liam. "Liam, you uploaded classified military data to a public server. That is not a vibe. That is a felony under Title 18 of the United States Code." Julian slammed his hand on the desk. "Enough. This is exactly what I am addressing. You are obsessed with obstacles. Liam is a visionary. You are a relic. You are paranoid, Gerald. Maybe if you spent less time policing my son and more time understanding his vision, you would see that." "So, I am being fired for upholding the compliance standards outlined in our federal contract," I asked. "You are being let go for insubordination and creating a hostile work environment." Clara interjected smoothly, sliding a piece of paper across the desk. "This is a separation agreement. We are offering you 4 weeks of severance if you sign a non-disparagement clause." I looked at the paper. It was a joke. 4 weeks for 24 years of keeping their company out of jail. "I will not be signing that," I said. Julian laughed. "Suit yourself. Now hand over your badge." I stood up. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my identification card. I placed it gently on Clara's desk. "You are making a mistake, Julian," I said. It was not a threat. It was a statement of fact. The only mistake I made was not firing you sooner." Julian sneered. "Get out. Security will escort you to your car." The walk to the lobby was long. A security guard named Dave walked behind me, looking at his feet. When the glass door slid shut behind me, the humid Virginia air hit my face. I walked to my sedan, unlocked the door, and sat in the driver's seat. I pulled out my personal phone. I had one unread message on the secure application, received 3 minutes ago from Director Roger Thorne. "Status terminated." I typed back, "Yes, badge surrendered. Access revoked." The reply came instantly. "Acknowledged. You are now a protected witness. Go home. Stay off the grid. We are moving assets into position." I started the car. As I drove away, I looked up at the 4th floor. I could see Liam in the window of the corner office. He was gesturing wildly, explaining to someone how he was going to revolutionize warfare. He thought he had won. He did not realize that I was the immune system, and he had just suppressed the only thing keeping the infection from killing the host. I drove home and waited for the process to unfold. My house was quiet, no television blaring, no distraction. My daughter was in graduate school in Boston studying art history. I liked it this way. At 3:15 in the afternoon, I sat in my kitchen watching the steam rise from my tea. At 3:45 in the afternoon, my personal laptop, a secured system that never connects to public networks, pinged. It was a direct video link request. The encryption protocol was heavy. It took the system 45 seconds just to execute the handshake. The screen flickered to life. Director Roger Thorne was sitting in a room that looked like a military bunker. He was a man who looked like he had been carved out of gray granite. He did not smile. "Gerald," he said. His voice sounded like gravel crunching. "Director," I nodded. "We have full mirroring on Aegis Analytics servers," Thorne said. "We tapped the line the moment you sent the first anomaly report. We have been watching Liam for 9 hours. He is currently trying to integrate the tactical database with a public application programming interface key. He is actually feeding classified troop locations into a public language model." I closed my eyes. It was worse than I thought. "You need to shut it down, Director," Thorne cut in. "We have sandboxed his connection. He thinks he is on the open web. He is in a simulation loop we control. He is feeding data to us, not the public." Tomorrow is the board meeting, correct? The one where they pitch this innovation to the Pentagon liaison. Yes, noon. They are expecting General Bruce Sinclair. Good. General Bruce Sinclair is coming, and so am I. Thorne leaned forward. Technically, Gerald, you are a civilian, but as of this moment, I am activating you under Title 50 authority as a specialized consultant. You are reinstated by the United States government. Come to the building tomorrow at 12:45 in the afternoon. Park across the street. Wait for my signal. They took my badge, I reminded him. You will not need a badge, Thorne said. We are going to clean house, Gerald, and I want you there to witness the audit. The screen went black. I sat there for a long time. I thought about Julian. He had called me paranoid. He had no idea that while he was playing checkers, the National Security Agency was playing chess with his life. I ironed a shirt for tomorrow, a nice silk shirt, deep navy blue. I slept like a baby. The next morning, I parked my sedan in the overflow lot across the street from Aegis Analytics. It was 12:15 in the afternoon. I had my tablet propped up on the passenger seat. Thorne had sent me a link to a compliance view, a live feed from the security cameras inside the executive boardroom. Julian was pacing, checking his watch. Liam was there too, wearing a hoodie under a blazer. He was hooking his laptop up to the massive 98-inch presentation screen. Dad, the latency is practically zero, Liam said, his voice tinny. The bot is responding instantly. Do you know how long Gerald's team took to model that? Several weeks. Gerald is the past, Julian said. Today we secure the contract. I watched them from my car, sipping lukewarm coffee. It was like watching someone plan a vacation while they were actively robbing a bank. The feed switched views. I could see the lobby. General Bruce Sinclair walked in. Flanking him were two aides carrying briefcases. Behind them was the real show. 3 black SUVs pulled up to the curb, blocking the executive parking spots. 6 men got out. They were wearing dark suits that screamed federal agent. Director Roger Thorne was in the lead. The receptionist, a sweet girl named Lily Evans, looked up. Thorne did not stop. He flashed an identification badge. Lily's face went pale. Thorne and his team moved toward the elevators. They moved with a fluid, predatory grace. Back in the boardroom, Liam was high-fiving Julian. It is showtime, Dad. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Thorne. Move in. Lobby is secure. Come up. I stepped out of the car. The sun was shining. It was a beautiful day for an audit. I walked across the street, my heels clicking on the asphalt. I did not rush. I wanted to savor the anticipation. I entered the lobby. Lily Evans was standing by the desk looking terrified. When she saw me, her eyes widened. Gerald, she whispered. I thought you were terminated. Who are those men? They locked the elevators. It is okay, Lily, I said, my voice calm. They are with me. Can you override the elevator lock for me? Do you trust me? She swiped her MasterCard. The elevator doors opened. I stepped into the elevator and pressed the button for the top floor. The ride-up was silent. The doors opened. The hallway was empty. The sound of voices drifted from the open doors of the boardroom. Gentlemen, Liam was saying, gesturing to the screen. What you are seeing is the Aegis AI Nexus. It scrapes every database we have, logistics, personnel, satellite telemetry, and synthesizes it into actionable intelligence. General Bruce Sinclair sat at the head of the table, his face unreadable. For example, Liam continued. If I ask it for the vulnerability assessment of the Eastern Grid, there it is. A map populated on the screen. Red dots appeared over power stations. And this is running on your internal secure servers? One of the aides asked. Batter, Liam grinned. It is running on a distributed hybrid cloud. Maximum speed, infinite scalability, hybrid cloud, the general repeated, meaning connected to the internet. Yes, Liam beamed. That is the beauty of it. We have broken the silo. Suddenly, the screen flickered. The map of the Eastern Grid froze. Then a giant red box appeared. Connection terminated. Remote host unreachable. Liam tapped the keys. 1 second. Wi-Fi glitch. General Bruce Sinclair slowly closed the folder in front of him. At that moment, every phone in the room buzzed with a harsh emergency alert tone. The signal bars on everyone's phones dropped to 0. What is going on? Julian asked. I have no service. The network is down, Liam said, panic creeping into his voice. That, a voice came from the doorway, is because we cut the hard line. Director Roger Thorne stepped into the light. He was holding a folio and his badge. He tossed the badge onto the mahogany table. It slid across the silk tablecloth and stopped in front of Julian. The metallic thud was the loudest sound in the world. "Who are you?" Julian demanded. "This is a private meeting." "I am Director Roger Thorne of the National Security Agency," Thorne said calmly. "And this is no longer a private meeting. It is a crime scene." Two agents stepped in behind Thorne, blocking the windows. "NSA." Liam laughed nervously. "Is this part of the stress test?" "Sit down, young man," one of the agents barked. Liam sat. "This is not a stress test," Thorne said. "This is a containment breach protocol." Thorne looked at the general. "General Sinclair, my apologies for the interruption. We needed to confirm the active uplink before we severed the connection." "Understood, Director," the general said, standing up. "Did he really put the grid data on a public server?" "He did," Thorne confirmed. "Good grief," Sinclair muttered. He looked at Julian with pure disgust. "You people are insane." "Now wait a minute," Julian sputtered. "We have protocols." "You had protocols," Thorne corrected. "And then you fired the person who enforced them." Thorne turned toward the door. "Gerald." I stepped into the room. The look on Julian's face was worth every unpaid overtime hour. His jaw literally dropped. "Gerald," he whispered. "Hello, Julian," I said. I did not raise my voice. I just stood there looking like the personification of a compliance audit. "He is the one who sabotaged the network," Liam shouted. "He hacked us." "Gerald did not hack you," Thorne said, opening the folio. "He reported you, as he was legally required to do. And because he did, we were able to intercept your software before it reached the external servers that were actively scraping your cloud." "External servers?" Liam squeaked. "You used an insecure host," Liam, I said. "Did you read their terms of service, or did you just click agree because their servers are cheaper? You just handed the entire operational forecast to external actors, but it was encrypted." Liam whispered. "With a standard key," I said. "It would have taken them about 4 minutes to crack it." "Luckily," Thorne interjected, "Gerald alerted us yesterday. We redirected your data. It went to a dummy server in Utah. We caught it all." Julian slumped into his chair. The fight was draining out of him, replaced by the dawning realization of legal liability. "Okay," he said, his voice trembling. "Okay, so no harm done, right? We can fix this. We will wipe the servers. We will fire Liam." "It is too late for that, Julian," Thorne said. He pointed a remote at the screen. The security footage of the all-hands meeting appeared, showing Liam boasting about overriding protocols. "Admitting to intent," Thorne noted. He clicked next. A log file appeared. It showed Julian's credentials authorizing the override. "And here is the facilitator. You used your executive privilege to bypass a safety stop. That makes you an accessory to the distribution of classified material under Title 18 United States Code, Section 793 subsection F." "I did not know what he was going to do," Julian pleaded. "I just wanted to empower my team. Ignorance is not a defense when you sign a contract stating you understand the penalties of negligence," General Sinclair said. "Julian, do you know what the penalty is for mishandling defense data?" "We can pay a fine," Julian said quickly. "We can settle this." I couldn't help it. I let out a soft laugh. "This is not a parking ticket, Julian," I said. "You do not pay a fine. You go to prison, Gerald, please." Julian looked at me, his eyes wet. "Help me explain this to them." I looked at him. I remembered the way he looked at the parking lot while Clara fired me. "I did tell them," I said softly. "I told them in my first report. You told me I was creating a hostile work environment. You fired the whistleblower," Thorne stated, "which is another federal crime under the Whistleblower Protection Act. You added a felony to your negligence." "Treason?" Liam whispered. "I am an entrepreneur." "You are a leak," Thorne said, "and we plug leaks." Thorne turned to the general. "We have enough for the immediate suspension of the contract. The Justice Department handles the indictment from here." Julian stood up. "Now hold on." The agent by the window moved, making it clear he was prepared to act. Julian sat. "Here is what happens next," Thorne said. "Aegis Analytics is now under federal oversight. All assets are frozen. All servers are seized." "But the board," Julian stammered. "The investors." "The board is being notified as we speak," Thorne said. "I imagine your stock price is currently dropping." I looked at Liam. He was crying, sobbing into his hands. "I just wanted to make a cool tool," he blubbered. "It was pathetic, and it was entirely avoidable." "Gerald," Thorne turned to me. Do you have the physical backups? Yes, Director, I said. I secured the hard drives in the safe before I was escorted out yesterday. Liam did not know the combination, so he could not corrupt the originals. Good, Thorne nodded. That saves us a week of forensics. He looked at Julian. You fired the only competent person in this building. If he had not secured those backups, you would be facing far worse charges because we would not be able to prove you did not sell the data. Julian looked at me, his face filled with fear. I did not answer. I just checked my watch. 1:45 in the afternoon. The door to the boardroom burst open again. This time it was the chairman of the board, Charles Montgomery. He looked like he was having a cardiac event. Julian Montgomery roared. What is the meaning of this? Our stock is halted. He stopped when he saw the general and the agents. General Sinclair? Save it, Montgomery, Sinclair said. Your CEO and his son just tried to open source our troop movements. Montgomery turned on Julian. You did what? It was a misunderstanding, Julian cried. He authorized an override of the safety system to let his son play with matches in a fireworks factory, Thorne said. Montgomery looked at Liam, who was still sniffling. Then he looked at Julian. You are fired, Montgomery said. For cause effective immediately. No severance. No stock options. We are clawing back everything. You cannot do that, Julian shouted. I just did, Montgomery snapped. Montgomery looked around the room, frantic. How do we fix this? General, please. Aegis Analytics employs 3,500 people. If you cancel the contract, we fold. The contract is suspended pending a full security audit, Sinclair said. We cannot pass an audit without our compliance officer. Montgomery cried. Actually, Thorne said, gesturing to me. He is right here. Montgomery looked at me, recognition dawning. Gerald, right? The one with the rigid reports, the one who saved your company's existence, Thorne corrected. Gerald detected the breach, reported it, secured the physical backups, and prevented the data from leaving the country. Montgomery looked at me. Gerald, I did not know. We need you back. Name your price. Salary, whatever you want. Just tell the general we are compliant. I have conditions, I said. Anything Montgomery promised. First, I pointed at Julian and Liam. They leave now and they never set foot in this building again. Done, Montgomery agreed immediately. Second, I said, I report directly to the board. No executive oversight on security matters. If I say a server stays locked, it stays locked. Agreed, Montgomery said. You have absolute autonomy, third, I said. I want Toby Jenkins from IT to get a raise, and I want a compliance bonus of $80,000 paid immediately. Done, Montgomery nodded. I turned to General Sinclair. General, if the leadership is removed and the original protocols are restored, can we maintain the contract? Sinclair looked at me. If you are the one signing the compliance forms, Gerald, then yes, we will proceed on a probationary basis. Thank you. General, I said. I looked down at Julian. You were right about one thing, I said. I am a firewall, and you just burned yourself trying to cross me. Gentlemen, Thorne said to his agents, please escort the suspects to the vehicles. Suspects? Liam squeaked. Am I being arrested? You are being detained for questioning regarding national security violations, the agent said, placing handcuffs on him. Liam started crying again. Dad, do something. Julian stood up. He looked old. He looked at Montgomery, but Montgomery turned his back. He looked at me. I am sorry, Julian said. It is not in the log, I replied. The agents led them out. The room was quiet again. Well, General Sinclair said, putting on his cap. That was efficient. We try, Thorne said. He walked to the door, then stopped. Gerald, nice work on the backups. That was intuitive. It was standard procedure, sir, I said. Thorne smiled slightly. Standard procedure. He left. The general and his aides followed. Montgomery shook my hand and promised to have the paperwork ready within the hour. I was alone in the boardroom. I walked over to the window. I saw the black SUVs pulling away, carrying Julian and Liam. They were done. I walked back to my office. My badge still did not work, but Toby Jenkins was there. He ran over and opened the door. Gerald, he said. Is it true? Are they gone? They are gone, Toby, I said. Reactivate my credentials. On it, he said. And thanks. Don't thank me, I said. Just don't ever use a ghost key again. Never, he promised. I walked into my office. It was exactly as I had left it. I sat in my chair. I logged into my workstation. I opened the log file for Devadman 08. I typed, account disabled permanently. Then I went to the break room. boiled some water, and made a fresh cup of Earl Grey. I took a sip. It was hot, bitter, and perfect. I opened a new spreadsheet. I had work to do. Real power does not announce itself. It simply operates. Gerald let his meticulous adherence to protocol speak volumes. It is a stark reminder that arrogance and unchecked privilege often precede a very public fall, especially when the stakes are so incredibly high. True authority is earned, not inherited. Appreciate you all for sticking through this one. See you in the next story.